Before we talk about treatment, we need to talk about the system that organizes movement. Most people are taught to think about muscle first. That is often incomplete. Muscle can express the problem without organizing the problem. In many cases, strength is not the main limiting factor, structure is. Fascia is the connective structure that surrounds and integrates the body. It surrounds muscles, it surrounds nerves, it surrounds organs. It creates continuity through the entire movement system. Because of this, fascia plays a major role in how force moves through the body. Not just movement, force. Movement is not simply muscle contraction. Movement is force distribution. How load transfers from one structure to another, how tension moves through the system, how the body responds to stress. When force is not distributed efficiently, the body compensates. Those compensation patterns are often where symptoms begin to appear. This is why two people can present with the same symptom, but for completely different structural reasons. The symptom is not always the source. Very often, the symptom is the visible result of a larger compensation pattern. This is one of the most important distinctions in our work. We are not only looking for where the body hurts, we are looking at what force pattern is creating the pain. In our work, we commonly observe three primary fascial patterns. The first is force-adaptive fascia. This develops along repeated patterns of load, overload, negative or regenerative movement, or compensation. The body adapts to repeated demand. Sometimes that adaptation supports performance. Sometimes it creates dysfunction. The second is somatic integrated fascia. Within our framework, this reflects what we describe as the fascial nervous system, a distributed sensory and signaling network that functions alongside the central and peripheral nervous systems. In our work, we often refer to this as the body's third nervous system. This helps explain how the body stores, communicates, and responds to mechanical, emotional, and stress-based load through the fascial network. The third, and more important, is fluid and lymphatic restriction. When tissue movement becomes inefficient, fluid movement is often also impaired. This can contribute to congestion, pressure, and reduced recovery capacity. These are not isolated categories. They overlap. They influence each other. This is why treatment must look at the full structure. One of the most important principles we observe is this. When fascia structure changes, force distribution changes. When force distribution changes, movement changes. When movement changes, function often improves. This is why muscle-only treatment often produces temporary improvement without lasting structural change. If the organizing structure remains unchanged, the compensation pattern often returns. Our work focuses on identifying and changing these structural patterns, not simply reducing symptoms, improving force efficiency, improving movement quality, restoring repeatable function. Structure controls force, force controls movement, movement controls function. That is why fascia matters.